Hey toy fans, I'm D21 Beast and welcome back to my figure review series here on my YouTube channel. And today we're once again going boldly where no one has gone before. That's right, we've got another Star Trek review for you today. And today we're taking a look at the 20th anniversary Star Trek The Next Generation Season 1 Captain Jean-Luc Picard figure, released by Art Asylum and Diamond Select in 2007. Captain Picard was played by actor Patrick Stewart, who would go on to be famous for Xavier in the X-Men films. But back here in 1987, he was just getting started on television with what would become probably his most iconic role that he's ever taken to date. And this is a really fun figure, especially when you consider that he comes with the captain's chair, but we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at the paintwork and sculpting on this figure. Alright guys, here we have an up-close look at this figure, and I think the likeness to actor Patrick Stewart is actually pretty good on this figure. I'm very happy with how it came out. All of the sort of sculpt work with the wrinkles on the face, with the furrowed brow. As we come around, we've got some great work on the ears. The hair is even sculpted and painted nicely, which I really like. I just think it looks like Patrick Stewart. It's got some great paintwork and flesh tone there. And as we come down, we can see that he does have the piping sculpted on his uniform, which is consistent with the Season 1 appearances. He does have his pips on the side, not on the collar, because there is no collar on these figures. Now those pips are just painted, they're not actually sculpted. And we do have a sculpted comm badge to the right here, and we do have a line on the front of the uniform, consistent with where the zipper was on these original Season 1 jumpsuits. And he is red in the middle torso here, and even red on his arms, on each arm. And as we come down the figure, you're going to notice that the rest of the figure is pretty much black until we get to the ankles. In Season 1, the characters on the show, they actually had red piping on their pants as well, so that's reflected on the figure here. And as we flip him around, we can see that he does have black on his legs going all the way back, and he comes back to that red on the mid-torso. Red, of course, being the Command Division color on Star Trek The Next Generation. So overall, I think it's a great sculpt, and some great paintwork on this figure, and I really appreciate the likeness to Patrick Stewart. Okay, toy fans, and in case you're new to Star Trek, if you don't know what I mean when I'm saying Season 1 uniform, I have here Captain Picard standing next to Wesley Crusher. Wesley Crusher looks like he did in Season 3 and Season 4 of Star Trek, Picard in Season 1. And what you can see here is on the right, Wesley does have an actual collar on his uniform, where Picard does not have one. It just kind of cuts off at the base of the neck. And Wesley doesn't have the piping on his uniform like the Picard on the left side here. And you'll notice the placement of the pips is a little different. Wesley has his pips on the neck, where Picard's got them on sort of his collarbone there. So that's just the major differences between these uniforms. And of course we touched on the piping on the pants. Season 1 Picard has the piping, Wesley does not. So that's the major differences between these uniforms. Of course, the uniform on the right here was actually a two-piece outfit. The separate jacket piece they'd wear on top of slacks versus the Season 1 outfit, which was just a complete body jumpsuit. So great attention to detail from Art Asylum and Diamond Select on that. Taking a look at the accessories now that this Captain Picard figure comes with, he was packaged with his captain's chair. And this is an absolutely fantastic accessory for this figure to have. Picard, of course, was sitting in this chair predominantly throughout the series. I mean, this was his place of command, and it's awesome that he came with this chair. I like that the base has sort of a color to mimic the carpet of the ship. Now, one thing you'll notice about the chair is while we have a Season 1 Picard over here, the chair itself is actually the Season 2, I believe, is when that started. The Season 2 Captain's chair through Season 7. Season 1 had a chair that had some wood paneling on it, and these pieces here weren't always jutting out like this. They were actually these little wooden flaps that would fold forward anytime the captain needed to use them. And if you look to the right here, you'll see kind of a side-by-side comparison of the Season 1 chair compared to the Season 2 through 7 chair. But outside of that, the chair is actually really good. I like that it's got the button detail on the armrest, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got some nice paintwork on the armrest as well. The chair itself looks just like it did on the show, and it has a full 360-degree swivel, which is nice. And Captain Picard himself does fit nicely into the chair. We can just set it down here, just give him a little bend at the legs, and just kind of move his arms out of the way, and you can easily sit your Captain Picard in the chair. So, an absolutely fantastic and fun accessory to have with this Picard figure. Moving on to articulation, we can see that Captain Picard's movement is very similar to what we've seen with other figures in this line. His head is designed to move around on a pivot here on his neck, which is great. Now, it is supposed to be able to look a full 360 degrees either way, but my Picard head's a little stiff and I don't want to force it, but he can look left and right about that far. He does have a full 360 degree rotation at the shoulder, and a hinge that allows his arm to move out from the body about that far. He's got an upper bicep swivel and a single jointed elbow that moves down that far and back that far. He's got a 360 degree rotation at the wrist, and that articulation is copied on the other side. He's also got a waist rotation that will allow his waist to move a full 360 degrees, just like this. He does have those classic hip joints we've seen on the other figures, where his leg can move forward that far and only return to standing position. He's got a single jointed knee that bends back that far and comes forward. And finally, he does have some foot articulation. His ankle will move down that far and up that far. There is no side-to-side ankle pivot. So, a great range of motion for what these figures are, and I'm happy to see that Picard's got the same range on him. Height-wise, this Captain Picard figure does come in at just about 7.5 inches tall. For some size comparison, here we have Captain Picard compared against Ensign Wesley Crusher, another average size figure for the wave, and compared to the 2002 release of the Star Trek Nemesis Captain Picard from Art Asylum and Diamond Select. And here he is compared to the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends Infinite series Wolverine. And finally, here's Captain Picard compared to the 1990s Dr. Beverly Crusher figure from Playmates. Alright toy fans, well that's my review of the Star Trek The Next Generation 20th Anniversary Captain Jean-Luc Picard figure, released by Art Asylum and Diamond Select in 2007. And overall, I really enjoy this figure. I think this is a figure that the fans definitely want to go out and get. He comes with the captain's chair, which is definitely the biggest selling point for the figure for me. He's also got some great paint work, some great sculpting. He's an excellent representation of actor Patrick Stewart. And if you can only get one figure from the Next Generation line, definitely get this guy because he looks great just sitting in his captain's chair on a shelf or with any other figures you have in your collection. He's just a really good sculpt and figure overall. I may be repeating myself a little bit, but he's definitely worth picking up, guys, so definitely go check him out. Alright, well thanks for watching my review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you saw here, please feel free to rate, share, and subscribe. Also be sure to hit me up on Twitter at D21Beast. Thanks for watching, and engage! Hey toy fans, did you watch this review and find yourself wanting to know more about Captain Jean-Luc Picard? Well, Star Trek actually streams on Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, so take a look at these suggested episodes to learn more about this great character.